Oh boy, Initial D, the racing game? I didn't even know this existed, man. It's on the PS2. This is sleek as hell. Yeah, this is Initial D special stage. Gotta emphasize the special now, haven't we? This is a PS2 game that was released, and my god, I wish I knew about this game sooner. It's actually kind of fun. Initial D fans, all gather up, because we're about to talk about a game that I didn't even know existed. But oh my god, I wish I knew it existed sooner, because this game is just mwah, cherry on top, ladies and gentlemen. So I came across this game as I was looking on a ROM site. Yes, please don't arrest me, please, please, please. Piracy is illegal. You wouldn't steal a TV. You wouldn't steal a game. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, I stole Initial D special stage. I'm assuming Sega is like absolutely shaking in their boots right now about this. But yeah, I ended up playing this, and oh my god, it was really fun. Now, I only played an hour of it. I didn't want to play too much of the game because I kind of just wanted to get a video out, and I just decided to play Initial D. So, let me talk about the game real quickly, and I'll give my thoughts on it, whether or not you should go get it. It's a fun game. Now, there aren't many Initial D games out there. I know there's quite a lot of arcade games, and this one is based off of the arcade games, but I've never actually played them myself, other than this one now. So let's go over it, shall we? I decided to play the arcade mode first because it was the first thing that popped up. I just want to stress one thing that I already didn't like about this game was the sound effect in the main menus. I mean, listen to this. Yeah, it sounds like someone's farting, but other than that, you couldn't turn this off, which kind of annoyed me, but it's only in the menus. It just destroyed my ears at all. I promise you, that's like the only complaint I had, though. When we get into the arcade mode, we actually get to choose between a lot of cars here. Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Mitsubishi, you name it. Most of the Japanese cars that you would know are in this game, which was really shocking to me when I first saw it. This has got a bigger car list than most of the PS2 games I've actually played. So, very impressive. I ended up playing the AE86. Of course I did, I'm a basic bitch after all. Anyway, after playing the game for the first time, I can confidently say that I really didn't like the gameplay at first. Now, hear me out, I did eventually like it, but let me explain why I didn't like it at first. It was mainly because I was conditioned to like other racing games, and those games play way different to Initial D Special Stage. Now, the reason for this is because Initial D Special Stage doesn't have that many buttons. Hear me out. You have the gas, you have the brake, you have shifting up and down, but they don't exist if you don't play a neutral, and then you have a change view and a headlights option. That's it. You're only really going to be using the gas and the brake if you're playing on automatic, and if you're playing on manual, you'll be using the shift and the downshift as well. Well, actually, never mind, you'll be using the analog stick too, because you don't exactly want to drive off a cliff or anything like that. Anyway, this game immediately to me felt like I was on ice. I'm not even joking. The car turned as if it was on ice, not even when I was drifting, just as I was turning normally, it just felt like I was on ice. Is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? I really don't know. I got used to it after about 5 races, but for the first 4, it felt so weird. It just didn't feel like the car had any traction, and I feel like drifting is like the whole point of, you know, having that sort of movement, but having it just off rip without actually having to drift, it just felt a bit weird. But I did get used to it, and it's not that big of a deal. Now, the only thing I really have a complaint about in the movement, and you can call this a skill issue if you want, is when you're doing a 180 turn around a corner by drifting, for some reason, when you actually come out of the drift, you've got to straighten up the car before you have finished the drift. Otherwise, you'll just go straight into the wall. I don't know why this happens. It just doesn't feel natural to me. Muscle memory just doesn't allow me to straighten the car up during the drift. But if you don't know the map, you're going to crash into a wall quite a lot, even though there's a mini-map. I don't know, I just had a massive issue with the 180 turns. Sometimes I did them perfectly, sometimes I just didn't turn the car correctly and it crashed into the wall because I overturned it or something. I really don't know what it was here, but this was an issue that I had just been seeing throughout my playthrough. Whether or not it's a bad issue or, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure it was just my own fault, but it just felt like that specific, like, straighten up on the car felt a bit delayed. It's really hard to explain. But other than that, I have no more complaints. This game is amazing. The drifting is good. I feel like it's unique, and I feel it's really easy to get used to. I feel like the ice movement actually is really good. Even though I didn't like it at first, it actually feels better for a game like this, because it feels like when you're doing a turn, you don't have to just go straight into the drift. You can turn, then drift. You know, judge it correctly. Now, as it goes for the car list, it's insane. As I said, there was loads of cars in the game. I only played the AE86 as of right now. I am going to go play more of the game because it's really fun. But this is just like a quick little mini summary review that I only did an hour of. But it was really fun. Now, arcade mode has you playing on maps against certain characters throughout the show. And there are 6 maps in total. And they're all from the anime. Now, I don't know how accurate these line up with the anime, as I'm not exactly somebody who goes out of their way to, what's the word, like make a map as I'm watching the show. But from what I felt, it felt like it was from the anime, so that's a good thing. It felt like I was actually racing from the anime, which is nice. And all the maps here are based off of anime locations. I already know. You got Akina, I think that's how you pronounce it, from the anime, and you got the other maps from the anime. It's unique. It's great. I love it. The only thing I don't like is the arcade mode. I don't know if this was a setting that I wasn't able to change, but all of the races that I did on arcade mode started in the daytime, which felt weird because every single race in Initial D, or most of them, sorry, like at least 95% of them are all taking place at nighttime, not at daytime, so I don't really know what to make of that. I think it was just a setting that I didn't change, so I won't even hold the game to that. One thing I do like, however, is the BGM, also known as the OST. The OST here is literally all at like the music from the anime, and if you like Eurobeat, you're gonna like this shit. Now, I originally thought that there were 11 songs in total, but it turns out if you actually play the story mode, you actually unlock songs throughout the game. For example, I looked through the list of the songs, and I didn't see one specific song called Remember Me, which is from the anime, and it's one of my favorite Eurobeat songs from Initial D. Turns out you unlock this in stage 3, which I didn't realize, but it actually played in stage 3 as well. So not only are you unlocking songs, you know what songs you're unlocking as well, which is great. I actually thought that there were only 11 songs in this game and I was about to cry, but it turns out you can unlock a lot more than just 11. So thank God for that. Now, story mode is actually kind of unique and kind of cool in my opinion, where it actually doesn't show any like live cutscenes or like the CGI, like Sonic Riders type of stuff. Instead, it shows manga panels, and sometimes on occasion it will show manga panels that have been colored with facial movement. It's a really unique scenario. I think this is mainly a budget thing, but I'm not actually against it. I actually quite like it because the artwork from the creator is insane, especially in the loading screen. Some of the loading screen artworks just, mwah, chef's kiss. They look so cool. This one of Takumi with a coat and the AE86 in the background, while it looks amazing, it just looks so off. I don't know how to describe it. Everything looks so real, and then you just got Takumi's face. It's not a diss, but I really do like the art style. It's really, really good. Also, there's the garage. This is something that I didn't really understand the mechanics of too well within my first hour. There is a turning option, like a tuning option, sorry. And I just don't know what this is meant for. I assumed you were able to buy upgrades or something because you were getting points at the end of arcade races. But I don't know where you use those points to. And I didn't really spend too much time looking for it. As I said, I wanted to make a video on this game because of how fun it was. Now, there's one other thing. You get a car guide. Now, in the European version, at least that's the one I was playing, the Japanese dub is still existing. The only thing that's English is the text and the menus, but for some reason here it was just completely Japanese, so I didn't understand a word that was going on, and the cutscene that plays has a Japanese guy speaking, but you have absolutely no idea what he's talking about because he's speaking in full Japanese. I assumed that the car guide was like a tutorial, but that didn't really go to plan. So instead I had to go look up a YouTuber called Foul Bear. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Apologies if I got that wrong. But I ended up looking up his channel for the tutorial on how to drift. And it made a lot more sense that you have to release the gas, hold the brake, then you had to release the brake, and then hold the gas. It's just, you know what? I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I wish the tutorial was here because I didn't understand it at first. But my new technique, at least going around corners, that I was using for the rest of the game was just holding down the gas and just pressing the brake, tapping it every so often, and wiggling the stick left and right, trying to adjust. It kind of worked later on in the stages, so there's no complaints there. So GG, I guess. The garage has a lot of unique customizations as well. I mean, the AE86, for example, has 5 different presets, which is great. You can put like spoilers and stuff on them, which is really, really cool. I need a drink of water. Overall, I really like it. Special Stage is definitely something unique, and I think it's something that Initial D fans would really like. If you haven't played it, I'd recommend going to play it now on a PS2. I don't know where you'd buy a copy from, that's just me. Or you could do the fun thing and just download an emulator. I mean, this game isn't being sold on shelves anymore. I don't think Sega are losing sleep at night about their sales of Special Stage. But, you know, maybe I could be wrong for all I know. I could be wrong. I'm not advising it, but I'm definitely suggesting it. Anyway, that's my take on Initial D Special Stage. It's really fun. I really did like the anime when I first watched it, and playing this game was really good. I will give one final note, actually. That is the story mode. If you haven't watched Initial D yet, I'd recommend watching it before playing this game if you want to understand the story mode. The story mode is really hard to kind of get a grasp of because it's in Japanese and there is no text in English. So you're just looking at manga panels and filling in the blanks. It's just as you're watching the cutscenes. It's not ideal, but you know, I guess it could be doable, maybe. However, because I watched the anime, I understood pretty much everything that was going on in the story mode, and so I didn't really need to worry about subtitles. It was fairly easy to get a grasp on what was going on. So yeah, I'm completely fine with what was going on in the story mode. One thing I will add as well to the story mode is I like there was a lot of unique mini games included. For example, the first mission that you do in the story mode is Takumi driving the mountains with a cup of water. This happens in the anime, and the idea behind this minigame is that if you crash into a wall, you lose water from your cup, and you've got to get to the end goal without spilling too much water. On paper, it's just a simple damage mechanic where you don't take any damage to your car. Drifting, anything doesn't really affect the water. The only thing that affects the water is you hitting a wall. So there's no worries. It's basically just a damage meter. And then there's a game mode later on where you have to drive one of Takumi's friends. I forgot his name. Sorry, my bad. You have to do drifts around corners. In the anime, Takumi drifts around corners and it scares the living crap out of his friend to the point where he faints. In this game mode, you just got to consecutively do drifts around corners and you'll make the character faint. These mini game modes are really unique, and I don't see many games ever doing stuff like this anymore, at least racing games, modern racing games, which is kind of weird because it feels like the old racing games were a lot more inventive in how they did story modes and other racing mini games. So yeah, I haven't fully completed this game, nowhere close. I've only done an hour of it. I don't know how long it does take to complete this game, but I'm only like halfway through a story, and even then it's like the first section. I don't even know if there is any more to the story. There might be more. I imagine there is more, but I'll have to wait and see on that one. But with how many cars there are in the game, it's just a really fun game overall. I can imagine this game must be quite a lot of fun if you happen to own a Logitech steering wheel and you're able to get this set up to it. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say on this one. The game's overall really good, and I can't wait to review any more Initial D games if I can get my hand on them. I didn't even know there was a PS2 game, so the fact that I came across it just on a whim is funny as fuck. But yeah, I'll be checking out any more Initial D games I can find. But leave in the comments if you want me to check out any PS2 games. I'll happily do it. I'll happily review them, sort of review them, I guess you could say. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.